Live from the Tiger Studios in Easley, South Carolina, it's the JoJo Cool Football Pick Show week number 10 with your host and star of our show, JoJo Cool, and her co-host, Outlaw Jimmy James. Our guest picker tonight is the Southern gentleman, Mark Holliday. Here's JoJo.
Hi everybody, and thank you for tuning into our show.
Welcome everyone. Glad to have you here with us.
Yeah. Tell us about your day, Mark.
Oh, the day was great. You know, nice fall weather, good day at school with the kids, and so the day was very good. The day was very good. How about you?
Yeah, I just went to school, got a new car, sort of, renting it. Yeah.
Tell them why.
They're getting my airbag fixed and stuff.
Oh, you had the airbag recall as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that on my Mustang, but right now it's incapacitated, so it's not getting a recall, not getting an airbag yet. But
Yeah, I got
yeah,
to.
know all about that.
Well, Mr. Holiday was going to try and make it last week. We had some miscommunication. He got here a little late, but we got him here today, so we're looking forward to a great show with him. The Southern Gentleman, the Prince of Pickens, the Sultan of Seneca, the Cashmere of Central. What else can we come up with? The Earl of Easley. I mean, the Sultan of Simpsonville. I mean, this guy's got it all right here.
Yeah, my titles of immobility more than titles of nobility.
All right, JoJo, what you got to kick us off with?
Well, Clemson drops out of the top 10
I don't understand why.
for whatever reason that was. They dropped to 11.
Mm-hmm.
There are 8 undefeated teams now since we lost Army and Liberty. Another first for Florida State. They are the first team to go start 1-7 after going undefeated in almost 70 years. And Colorado is bowl eligible for the first time since 2016.
People are going nuts over it. I mean, they haven't impressed me not one bit. How about you?
Well, I haven't had a chance to see them. You know, they're always going to have some hype and attention because of, you know, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and can't deny what's happened with the program and the excitement that he's brought. So, you know, you got to be happy for the program and the kids that are in it because of them having something to look forward to for the first time in a while.
Now, he has talked to Jerry Jones, wanting Jerry Jones to draft his son and hire him on as a coach. So if I was Colorado, I'd be kind of wondering about that. But, you know, as Deion, I guess Dallas is home for him. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. He's too everywhere for me. Like all kinds of different commercials and stuff, and it's getting on my nerves.
Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump in and talk about Ohio State versus Nebraska. They barely squeaked by and beat Nebraska 21-17, and Ohio State has 45 straight wins versus an unranked opponent. That's the longest streak in the FCS right now.
I was hoping that Nebraska would take that, but they didn't. What do you think about that, Coach?
Well, I was kind of surprised. I thought the way Nebraska had played in recent weeks and taken one of the thrashings they had taken recently, I can't remember who it was, but it was a very lopsided score. I figured Ohio State would walk the dog, you know, and that it would be a decisive win. So you have to credit Nebraska for, you know, coming to play. But going back to some of the things that we talked about the last time I was here, you have to question a little bit with Ohio State right now in terms of them being able to maintain focus and play at a high level with so much success riding on the things they're doing. And even though, you know, Oregon beat them, you know, they're still in the hunt, and you can't let off the gas pedal right now. And so credit Nebraska for a well played game. But if you're Ryan Day, you got to be looking and saying, hey, what's going on with us? That we didn't take advantage of an opportunity to really separate ourselves and make ourselves a seriously discussed team when it comes to the playoff.
Agreed, yeah.
All right, let's talk about LSU, Texas A&M. It was all LSU the first half and the Texas A&M the second half. They had that great running game. But LSU could not stop Texas A&M. Just ran all over them that second half.
My boys just could not stop.
And they are undefeated in SEC play right now. The only team.
They're gonna have their hands full this coming week, though.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. Gamecocks will play them tough. I mean, it's gonna be a tough one, but gotta have to Texas A&M. They're really showing out. They've really improved. They're going to go to a bowl. They're going to go to a good bowl. Could go to the SEC championship. You never know. Way to look.
And I was really surprised by that because I watched part of the game and saw LSU jump on them early, and I'm like, this is it. You know, LSU's going to set themselves apart, but it didn't happen. And you go back to some of the things that Coach Kelly said over the last few weeks that they played during the game where LSU is not finishing. You know, you can get a lead. It's easy, and it's challenging to get a lead, but keeping a lead. It's almost like buying a car or buying a house. It's easy to buy a car. Keeping it is another thing because if you're like most people in finance, you got to make payments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so same thing with everything else here. And so getting a lead, is one thing, but being able to finish the game, and that's kind of been their Achilles heel when it comes to the games that LSU has lost this year.
Yeah.
It's been situations where the Tigers have not finished.
Exactly. Just don't finish the game. Yeah, you're right.
And they had a lot of interceptions in this game.
Too many. Yeah, too many. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and turnovers and penalties will get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a real big fan of their quarterback, Nussmeier. Is that? I think his name. I'm just not a big fan of his at all. I mean, he struggles a lot of interceptions, bad decisions, but that's all we got.
Yeah. I was excited about that one.
Well, I bet you were.
He was not.
Nope, not at all.
Texas Bandy. Texas barely beats Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt at the end couldn't get their onside kick to try to get their get a touchdown and win the game, or a field goal or something and win the game. But this is a 3-point margin. That's the smallest under Sarkisian so far.
But we all knew it was going to be a tough one. We discussed that last week. Even when Mark came by that evening, we talked about that's going to be a tough game. We knew Vanderbilt would play them tough at home, and they did.
Yeah, I mean you credit Vanderbilt for doing that. I mean it's already been a year that's setting their program apart as something that's extremely memorable for a season by what they've done with Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could have beaten Bama and Texas, it would have not just been goalposts that would have been floating down the river in Nashville.
Exactly.
Who knows what else it would have been.
Exactly.
But credit Vanderbilt for a great effort. But again, when separating the good from the great means being able to finish in those crucial situations, converting an onside kick or doing those little things when it counts. And so you've got to look at them and say how well they're improving. And if they can keep this kind of momentum going, this will be a solid program in the future and not just a flash in the pan, 1 year wonder, for the 2024 season.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Oregon, Illinois. This is the first time Oregon's been number one since 2012. They won 38-9. Dylan Gabriel was 18 of 26 for 291 yards, three touchdowns, and 1 interception.
They're looking sharp.
He is.
Yeah.
He's doing real well. I think he's in the Heisman race right now.
Well, the Ducks are set to do some great things, and moving out of the Pac-12 and into the Big Ten here, they've definitely risen to the challenge because they've definitely moved into like what they used to say about the old NFC Central division when it was that with the Vikings and Chicago and all them. It's now most of the NFC North. They called it the black and blue division, and so you've got Oregon who has moved into that conference, and they've settled in well. They're very competitive, and they're forced to be reckoned with right now. So you got to tip your hats to the Ducks.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dylan Gabriel so far as a career has over 17,000 pass yards and 143 passing touchdowns.
That's
Wow.
a lot. That is a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a ton.
It was a lightning in a bag play. An Indiana guy had a nice bobble catch. That was really cool.
That was amazing catch.
And Indiana never trailed during this game against Washington. That's who they played, and they won.
That's the team you gotta watch.
Indiana had game day for the second time ever.
And that's the team you gotta watch. Indiana. I mean, they're slipping up on them. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, they're having one of the best seasons they've had in forever, and so they're going to be somebody to watch. And like you say, they're going to be able to sneak up on people now, and then if they do come through and do what the unthinkable is, which is knock off an Ohio State or play for the Big Ten title, then they'll have a big old target on their back, from there on. But right now, they can be the predator, the ambush predator, I should say,
Yeah.
instead of having to be a prey that has a target, or predator that has a target on its back that's being treated as prey. So.
It's too early to even mention it, but it'd be interesting to see Indiana and Oregon for the big title.
Right.
That would be a game. I think Indiana can match up with them pretty well, possibly beat them. But, I mean, they got a good offense, and the defense is playing sound.
Well, that's why you play the game. You want to get in positions to where you can see teams like that play either for a conference title, or maybe they made it match up in the playoffs,
Right.
things of that nature. So
The playoffs are going to be interesting if they're in it. I mean, I think the playoffs are going to be real interesting this year.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to it, to see who's in it, see where they're playing, because the teams are getting to play at home, for playoff games.
right.
So that'd be interesting, especially if Clemson gets in it. Will they host somebody? That would be neat, So they just, would they host a team like Indiana who's undefeated, or would it be somebody else? It'd be interesting to see.
One team, I don't know, they might still be in it, they might not. We'll find out this weekend for sure. Navy versus Notre Dame. We lost Navy as an undefeated this week.
Yeah, they were.
Navy had about 6 turnovers in this game that killed them.
And Notre Dame pounded them. I mean, they pounded them. I figured it was going to be closer than that. I really did, because they usually play closer.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the same old song and dance. Turnovers can make or break a game. Penalties can make or break a game. And when you have 6, it's hard to. Number one, it's hard to overcome those and try to win. But say the next thing, putting it on the ground or throwing interceptions, things of that nature. A lot of times you give up field position and momentum.
Right. And
turnovers are a big momentum shifter for the other team, and so it takes the wind out of the sails of the team that gave the ball up.
Right.
And so with that, one turnover is one thing, but when you multiply that 6 times, it puts the team in a bind.
It's a killer, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And so on the same side of that, Notre Dame opened up with and had one loss, and now here they are sitting at 7-1-1, and you got to mention them about being in the hunt for some things, because the Irish are definitely playing pretty well right now.
I mean, if they can continue, they will be in the playoffs, I'm sure.
See how they do without a conference.
They're looking strong, yeah. Well, their name carries them, so
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. That name's going to carry them into the playoffs.
This is that was Notre Dame's 6th straight win.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now Miami kind of killed Florida State. Miami had over 230 yards rushing. Cam Ward was 22 of 35 for 208 yards, 1 touchdown. And this is the first win for Cristobal over Florida State.
Wow. And it was pretty. What was the score? You remember?
30.
It was dominating, wasn't it?
14.
Yeah, they dominated pretty good. Miami's looking good, but I think they got some chinks in the armor. And somebody's going to find it pretty soon. I really do.
But at the same time, they're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and you hate to use the term front runner with some of these teams, but as you say, when people find chinks in your armor and then you wind up on the wrong side of things are those things that you can fight back and overcome and prove yourself as a team that can hang in and overcome adversity within the context of the game. You know, get behind, fight to get yourself back in it, fight to win. When Miami's tested, that'll be things that people are looking for. But they're playing well, and then if they score first and keep a lead, they're very dangerous and a force to be reckoned with.
Right. Right.
And the BYU UCF game, BYU was an underdog in this one. They've been an underdog for 4 straight games where they keep winning.
I don't understand that. You know, BYU is strong, and they were the underdogs to UCF. I don't see it. I picked BYU. They won. It was a good game, a tough game, but you know they shouldn't have been underdog.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pick that I lost. I picked Central Florida on that one. My wife picked BYU on that one, but
Smart lady.
you know, so
Miss
I
Tina,
lost.
you're smart. You're very
I
smart.
lost to her on that one, even though I outpicked her overall. But that's the head-to-head matchup that I was soundly whipped on. But you know, you look at Gus Mazerin being there, and some of the good things that have happened with them. It's just, you know, they've how many in a row have they lost now? They've dropped a couple, or if not more, in recent weeks, and some of those were some pretty high-profile programs. But you know, this one I kind of expected them to bounce back and get, and it just didn't happen. So hats off to BYU. I mean, they're traditionally an offensive juggernaut anyway, and you know, they've produced some good quarterbacks that have made the NFL over the last several decades, and so yeah, hats off to them.
Looking strong, they really are. One of my favorite things I like when as a matter of fact, we had a fan send us a shirt from BYU. I need to wear that next week. Right?
Jump on that bandwagon.
No, I've been liking them for a long time.
So UTSA versus Tulsa, that was a crazy game because UTSA was 35-7 at halftime. They were 42-17 with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and then they lost somehow 46-45.
Coyote caught they were road runners. I mean, that's what they're, the road runners, and they started out fast like the road runners, and right there at the end, they just went down and just fizzled out. What do you think, Coach?
Well, that's a pretty good analogy. It's the one episode where the coyote wins.
Yeah.
Instead of falling off the cliff. You know, but yeah, that's says it about as well as anything.
Speaking of that, where do you think the Coyote gets all his money for the Acme stuff he buys?
Good question. Good
I
question.
wonder. I've never seen him work, so I just
Right. He must have a pretty good side hustle. Yeah.
He must.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about SMU and Duke. They went in overtime. Duke goes for 2 and tries to throw it and doesn't get. He tries to throw it and then it becomes incomplete. But he could have ran it in
Yeah.
for a touchdown because it was like a wide open field, and he would have got it and won that game.
I don't understand that. I mean, you know, but it was a good game. Overtime was a good game. I just wish Duke had won it. Buddy Ken Driscoll, who sent me a Duke shirt, you won last year. Big fan of Duke, and I was pulling for him, and I was hoping they'd win. But it was a good game. Congratulations to SMU.
Well, and again, as we've talked about in recent weeks, SMU's emerging. They're as much in the spotlight. They may not have been as much in the spotlight as they were during the Dickerson years and all that. This is probably the biggest spotlight year they've had, maybe in several decades. And so they're going to capitalize on every opportunity they get to try to win and again, set themselves apart from some of the more recent bad history that they've had.
Right.
Okay, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Oklahoma loses this one. This is their third straight loss by double-digit wins. Oklahoma had a fake injury where the guy just flopped on the field.
That's ridiculous.
And then a squirrel runs in for a touchdown. It was a squirrel on the field.
Secret squirrel.
So what y'all think about fake injuries?
I hate
that
fake
one?
injuries. I don't like them. And there's no place for them in college football anymore.
Well, again, you question the ethics of things of that nature because of the fact that, were they out of timeouts? You know, and so you got a chance within the rules to get up and spike the ball instead of doing that. And I don't like those kind of things either. But you have people who will, manipulate situations to their advantage so that they can get the official timeout and things like that. So
Or take the momentum away.
Yeah.
yes,
SEC is notorious for that, though. Fake injuries. I mean, Ole Miss has done it several times. They've been investigated for it. Just all of them have done it. I've seen it, which is unreal. Especially when they're behind another conference.
Yep.
Somebody from the ACC is playing them, they're leading fake injuries.
Michigan beats their foe, Michigan State, and then a fight breaks out at the end.
Coach, I won't let you handle that one. That's just unreal.
well, I didn't see it, but these things are uncalled for, and in the end, you get players who could be ejected and not play the next week, for things like that. And I don't have, like I say, I don't have any information on that in front of me to be able to, accurately give an opinion. But when you hear those things, it reflects, a loss of control.
Yeah.
And you look at Clemson and South Carolina when Lou Holtz was still there, and how it cost Clemson that year.
Yeah.
I think both of them may have been bowl eligible
They were.
and did not go.
They didn't go.
Because of that.
Self-imposed, yeah.
So the jury is still out on, I guess, on what's to be done about this. I don't know, because like I say, I've not heard anything and didn't follow the situation, and this is really my first knowledge of that. But it's something that the powers that be probably won't overlook. And it's just it'll just have to be seen as how it's going to be handled.
Speaking of that Clemson Carolina game, we were there, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Clemson fan, but the entire time Carolina was trying to pick a fight the entire game. The entire game, they kept doing things to the Clemson players. Players were complaining. They finally had enough. The brawl broke out. We saw one Carolina player get decked by a Clemson tight end. I thought the guy was dead when he hit him. The helmet they tore off, they threw it up right in front of us. It was a crazy, wild scene. I hate it happened, but I can see why it happened, because they were trying to pick a fight the entire time. That's lack of discipline, I think, on the coaching side.
Well, it very well could be, but you've got guys out on the field who are enforcing rules, and they have to do their part of it too.
Yeah,
and if those taunts are going on that are provocative, unsportsmanlike conduct, too unsportsmanlike, and you're out of the game. Period. Those things don't,
I'm glad you brought
it's
it
not
up.
like you can have multiple ones, but
Because they did not throw a flag at not one time while they were taunting and picking fights, shoving, extracurricular stuff after tackles. And it kept on and kept on, and finally broke out in a fight. But you're right, the referee should have stopped it from the beginning.
yeah,
None of that would have happened.
right.
But Clemson won that too, 1-5 in the game.
Yep. There was this crazy moment in the Auburn game, like in the first half. It was about to go to the, it had a few seconds left. I don't think Auburn had any timeouts or whatever they were doing. They tried to scramble and get like a field goal team on the field, and they had 14 players.
Yep. 14 players, yeah.
Wow.
They sent their whole lineup there.
Somebody wasn't thinking.
That's definitely a coaching error.
Yeah.
I have another lightning in a bag play. Yale, from Yale, David Pentelis. He kind of like, they throw a ball to him and he falls kind of on his back. He's falling on his back and he kind of kicks it up in the air and then he catches it while he's on his back. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was a good game too. I watched some of that.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about a hypothetical situation. I'm going with it. So, Miami, SMU, Clemson, all undefeated in conference play. Neither three of them play each other. If they all go undefeated throughout the season in ACC play, which two get it?
Miami,
one.
if Miami goes undefeated the whole season, they get it.
I didn't say the whole season. I
Well,
just said the ACC play.
Well, you gotta look at the, yeah,
Who's the two they get it?
it'd be Clemson and Miami. Yeah, because they're,
And then SMU gets left out?
yeah, they're more storied programs than SMU, yeah. Clemson with the recent championship, they had, all the championships Miami's had, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you get a three-way tie. I don't know what the tiebreaker system is. There has to be some kind of thing based on points.
It's usually
And-
like if they play each other, but they
Right.
they don't. So I
But
don't know how that
even
works.
Like
with
opponents.
that, they have to you go to record against common opponents,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're and look at point differentials or points given up
Yeah.
and things of that nature within that, and those things would be objective information.
Yeah.
And then if you beat all that, then somebody's flipping a coin. Unfortunately, or they're arguing some other way as to who gets it. But that's why it was. I think it was very wrong for them to unify the whole conference and not have divisions anymore.
Right.
People were thinking, oh well, what if you got the best teams in the same division? But having divisions and having champion of this division play champion of that division eliminates this particular problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it goes back to other things that people argued about back in the day of NFC dominance and the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
The NFC championship game's a real Super Bowl until the AFC turned the tide, and you had the Patriots winning all those years, and so now the pendulum has swung in a little bit different direction, and you see a little bit more balance
Right.
with what's going on. But if you're going to have huge conferences, I don't know how you can't have divisions.
Right.
To be fair, and to eliminate these types of hypothetical situations, because and it's just like with the 4-team playoff. I mean, Florida State, got thrown under the bus because they weren't in the SEC, and here they are undefeated. And then, once they're out of the playoff, all their good players opt out for the bowl, and then they get trounced in the bowl, and it's been a downward spiral for the program since then. And so, an expanded playoff helps to eliminate some of that. So divisions within the conference, if you're going to have a mega conference like the ACC and SEC have become numerically, you have to have divisions.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they expanded the playoffs. I really am. And they're going to expand it when again? A couple more years to 16? Yeah. So I'm all for that. I love it. More teams get a chance to be in the playoffs, bowls. Yeah, you get to see good teams like, Tulane go in there. Like last year they beat USC. So, they could be in the playoffs and do well. Maybe go 1 or 2 rounds and that's it. But that's some exciting football. More teams, more football, more better play. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right?
All right, let's pick some games.
Let's pick them.
Louisville and Clemson. Keep in mind, Louisville is 0-8 versus Clemson so far since joining the ACC.
Yeah. If they're going to beat them, this is going to be the year, besides Lamar Jackson. But is that Clemson, right? Yeah. Yep, Clemson's going to win.
I picked the Tigers as well.
I got Clemson barely.
All right.
Ohio State versus Penn State, the big game of the weekend.
Slobber knocker. Ohio State barely.
I'm taking the Nittany Lions on
I
this.
got Penn State as well.
I hope
Yeah.
Penn State wins. I really do. I hope they win.
Duke versus Miami.
I'm going with the Canes. Much as I hate to say it, I'm going with the Canes.
Another close
I'm
one.
going to have to
but,
go with Miami as well.
Miami.
Now here's another big game of the weekend. Air Force versus Navy.
I love the Air Force. Right behind Army. Navy's got a better running game. Navy takes them.
I'll go with the midshipmen as well.
I'm going with Air Force.
Ooh.
Keep them undefeated.
There you go.
Oregon versus Michigan.
Going with the Ducks.
I got Oregon.
I like Oregon. I've liked them for years. Ever since you was little, I've liked Oregon, so I'm going to Oregon.
Florida versus Georgia.
Dogs.
Bulldogs.
I got Georgia.
Yeah.
Not that Bulldog. That's Fresno State. Fan sent us that one.
Texas A&M versus South Carolina.
That's going to be probably the game of the day.
A hard game.
That's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's at South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M by 1.
This is additionally tough because of Carolina coming off of a bye week, which will either work very much in the Gamecocks' favor or very much against them. So I said I wasn't going to pick them anymore because of the inconsistency, but I'm going with Carolina on
There
this.
you go.
I am.
I don't know. Texas A&M got a good run game, but South Carolina is lucky, and I keep picking against them. I'm gonna go with Texas A&M with that run game.
Right.
Pitt versus SMU.
It'll be a good one. Pitt.
Yeah.
Pitt.
I'm going with the Panthers as well.
They stay undefeated. Hopefully not, but Kentucky versus Tennessee.
Good rivalry. Tennessee.
I got Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll go with the Volunteers as well.
Southern Cal versus Washington.
Game that nobody wants to win. Washington.
I'm going with Southern Cal.
I'm with you, Jimmy James. I'll take the Huskies too.
All right. What else we got? Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Tell us about our sponsors and thank Mr. Holiday.
All right. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Super Dave, David Garrett with Life FM, Lone Wolf Customs,
Robbie Raines.
engraving, hats, business cards, challenge coins, and more, and the smoke box for all your barbecue needs.
Contact Jonas and Destiny for that.
We'd like to thank Mark, our special guest picker for the night.
The Southern Gentleman, man. We appreciate you coming in, man.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, Jordan.
Always.
Take us out of here.
All right. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week. Bye.
Adios.